In this video, we're going to be finding the local and global extrema of a polynomial using the TI-83 or TI-84 calculator. So we're going to look at this by example. And our example is f of x equals negative 3x to the fourth plus 9x cubed plus 6x squared minus 28x. So our first step is going to be to enter our function into y equals. After that, we want to graph it. Here, I've already set our window so that our peaks and valleys will appear, but that won't always be the case, so you'll need to play with your window. In the case of this function, I had to change the y minimum to negative 30, the y maximum to 30, and the y scale to 5. So now that we have our graph, let's look for our local minimums first. It looks like we have a local minimum right around here because we're looking for our valleys. So to find the actual value, we want to go to second trace and number 3. And then it's going to pop up and ask us for a left bound. So we want to move to the left of where our valley is and hit enter. And then it's going to ask for a right bound, and we'll move to the right of where our valley is and hit enter. And then we'll move back between the arrows and hit enter. So this one, it says the minimum is y equals negative 16.01678. I'm going to round that for neatness sake. So that's going to be negative 16.02. And the minimum is at x equals 1.03. Again, for neatness sake. Now let's look at our local maximums. These are going to be anywhere that there is a peak in our graph. So it looks like that happens in 2 different places. So let's go again to second trace, and we'll go down to number 4 for maximum. Again, it's going to pop up and ask us for a left bound and then a right bound. So let's put our left bound first and hit enter. And then we'll move to the right of our peak and hit enter. And then we'll move back in between those 2 arrows for a guess. And this, it tells us that we have a local maximum of negative 6.99 at 2.23, x equals 2.23. And then we have another one that we need to investigate. So we're going to go again to second trace, again to maximum, number 4, and we want to move our left bound to the left of our other peak and hit enter, to the right of our peak and hit enter, and then back in the middle. And it looks like our maximum is 22.01 at x equals negative 1.01. So we have 2 local maximums and 1 local minimum. Next, let's talk about our absolute minimums and absolute maximums. So if we need to find these on the calculator, we'll do them the exact same way with the second trace and then go to either number 3 or number 4. But in the case of this graph, we don't need to do any more work on our calculator. If we look, our graph continues down past where we can see. On the calculator, that tells us that this goes off to negative infinity in the negative y direction. So we have no absolute minimum. And our absolute maximum is the very top y value we see, and we've already found that with one of our local maximums. Our absolute maximum is 22.01, which happens at x equals negative 1.01.